the FOX5 studios. This is the RebZone Sports Show.
It was a wet and wild 9th Island Showdown last night in Honolulu. Cam Friel, Leif Fautanu back in their hometown. UNLV looking to defend the Golden Pineapple Trophy with bowl game hopes on the line last night. We'll hear more from Coach Arroyo tonight on the lack of execution and the lack of focus from his Rebels on the road last night as the Rainbow Warriors put on a show in Manoa, handing UNLV their 6th straight loss, crushing their bowl game hopes.
We just got out-competed, and that was uncharacteristic. And that's what happens when you lose focus, you know. It was tough on the guys all week. I warned them that these type of games get set up this way. But that's got to fall on my shoulders first. It's got to fall on the ears that hear it and look at and see what we can do different.
And UNLV football players took the time to visit young students at Matt Kelly Elementary School this week. We'll hear more from UNLV defensive back Jordan Morgan on starting his own nonprofit, Aspire to Inspire, as he hopes to help local struggling schools and mentor local youth here in Nevada. And the Red Rebels are off to a hot start. 4 straight home dubs at the Thomas and Mack to open up the season. Kevin Kruger has his new squad rolling as UNLV will look to stay undefeated on the road this week in their SoCal Challenge. We'll hear more from the Runnin' Rebels tonight. And we got to give a big congratulations to Dawn Sullivan and her Rebels for dominating Wyoming this week and being crowned regular season champs. UNLV earned the #1 seed in this week's Mountain West tournament. A big good luck to UNLV volleyball this week in Fort Collins. Welcome into the RebZone. Straight off the plane and straight to the anchor desk is the grind of the college football season. This is how we do it at FOX5, just coming off the plane straight to the desk. Coach, a quick 24 hours in Hawaii. A lot of travel, a lot of family, a lot of players knowing each other. The emotions were high. The crowd was electric last night in Honolulu. But talk about maybe all of that being a little bit of too much noise for your team last night.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked a lot this season about expectations and the space between expectations and opportunity. And I think understanding how to accept those challenges as a young team and where we're at and what we've done is obviously proved hard for us. And the reality of it is those are the games that now we expect to win now. That's part of where we're at now. And so you got to understand as a program that if that's the expectations and standards that we got to go out and do, you got to go out and do it. Mm-hmm. And it can't, and just expecting to get it done or just accepting the fact that that's part of the deal is not enough. You got to go out there and actually do it. And it's unfortunate. We got to coach and we got to play better. We didn't execute well, and again, there's a lot of distractions. We knew that going out there, played out there before, but we got to put that one behind us because we got a huge one this week, and we're all in. And the most important thing is this senior game and this rivalry game.
All right, it's Cannon Week here in Vegas, but let's head out to Honolulu last night. UNLV looking to defend the Golden Pineapple Trophy, and it was pouring in Manoa last night, but Rebel Nation was out there loud and proud, ready for a wild and wet 9th Island Showdown. Cameron Friel, Leif Fautanu, the Hawaii boys getting ready to fight against their hometown team. Brumfield and his offense come out the gate swinging on the opening drive. Kyle Williams lit it up in Honolulu, posting his first 100-yard game of the season last night. The Rebels' opening drive would end with a 27-yard field goal from automatic Goot, and UNLV is on the board first. Rainbow Warriors respond on the next drive. Shager with time throws up a dime to Toa Mokai Atimalala all alone in the back of the end zone, and Hawaii takes a 7-3 lead. The Rebels struggling to find the end zone in the first quarter. UNLV would settle for another field goal, 48 yards from automatic Goot, and UNLV trails Hawaii 7-6 after run. Rebels finally reach the end zone in the second quarter. Brumfield to Jeff Weimer, his first touchdown as a Rebel. Weimer coming off a clavicle injury this season. Rebels take a 13-7 lead at the half. The Rainbow Warriors were bringing it last night. Shager flows it up to Caleb Phillips for the 13-yard touchdown, and the Rebels are making it too easy for the Rainbow Warriors last night. Hawaii jumps in front 14-13. Later in the third, Doug Brumfield throws a dart to Kelio Balungai, who walks into the end zone, but a holding call on Davion McDaniel would set the Rebels back, and penalties would keep the Rebels from reaching the end zone as UNLV settles for another field goal, 42 yards from Goot, and UNLV takes a 16-14 lead. Rainbow Warriors quickly respond on the next drive. Shager lets it fly, a 55-yard bomb to Zion Bowens, and the Rainbow Warriors are rolling last night in Manoa. Rainbow Warriors still the lead, 21-16, a minute left in the third quarter, and UNLV's offense still trying to get and rolling, but it was wet, it was slippery, and it was getting wild in the second half. UNLV turns the ball over, and UNLV's D would hold Hawaii to kick their first field goal of the night. It's 24-16 Hawaii. UNLV fighting till the end. Adam Plant Jr. strip sacks Jaeger. The ball is loose, and Elijah Shelton recovers the fumble in the end zone. Another massive play from Adam Plant Jr. UNLV would go for two, but the 2-point conversion is no good, and UNLV trails Hawaii 24-22 with 8:13 to play. It was a fight in Manoa last night. Hawaii kept it coming. Dedrick Parson breaks free down the middle, and he's gone. A 34-yard touchdown run, and Hawaii is juiced up at home, leading 31-22 with 2:50 to play. Next drive, 2nd and 5 at the 22. Brumfield still fighting, trying to connect with Jeff Weimer, but no dice. The Rebels would bring out Gutierrez on 3rd down. An automatic Goot ices a 40-yarder, and the Rebels trail the Rainbow Warriors 31-25 with 1:08 remaining in this ballgame. Hawaii would finish the game in victory formation and rush over to the Golden Pineapple Trophy, handing UNLV their 6th straight loss this season.
There's a lot of distractions this week, just being out here in Hawaii and the flight, and there's a lot of excuses that you can find. You know, I always say if you're looking for an excuse, you're going to be able to find one. So just a lot of different distractions, and with the young team, it's difficult to keep that laser focus, and something that we've been working on all season, and we've been getting better every week. But, you know, when circumstances get tough, we got to be tougher, and that's what I'm telling my guys right now.
Austin Ajike and his defense bringing that fight down the stretch last night in Hawaii, never letting their foot off the gas. Austin Ajike with that consistency, that leadership, and that passion every single night for UNLV, leading the Mountain West with 120 tackles. Last night he posted 15 total tackles, 2 tackles for loss, and 1 fumble recovery. He was just mentioning the distractions, the noise, you know, telling the younger guys on the team, let's lock in, let's get focused, let's get laser focused. What have you seen from Austin Ajike and just his leadership in crucial moments like last night?
Yeah, I mean, Austin's done a good job all year. You know, he's obviously recognized as one of our captains and voted on by both staff and the team. And his ability to go out there and tell guys what he needs from them is an important one. And for guys to listen to that is a big piece of what we need to do, and what you need to do as a program as you move forward is find leadership within that pushes guys and demands a lot of them. And so to see him do that right now in this last final week for his senior game is going to be a big deal.
Yeah. Offense kind of struggling out the gate. You know, Kyle Williams and Jeff Weimer flashed last night in Manoa, but what was the frustration last night on offense from your guys?
You know, there's just the physicality we play with that we demand is a big piece of our culture and what we've seen and what people have seen from us. That was lacking on both sides of the ball last night, and it's disappointing. The most disappointing part about it is the lack of physicality that we played with and the nature in which we played, because we're better than that, and it's disappointing to have seen that happen. So that can't be something that showed up this week.
Yeah, always chippy, always passionate in the 9th Island Showdown, as these two teams know each other. These two coaching staffs know each other. It's always passionate in this game. But now it's on to Cannon Week. Get one last win at Allegiant Stadium. Coming up next, we followed 3 Hawaiian football players this week as they returned home to the Rock. Cam Friel, Leif Fautanu, and Kilinahe Mendiola-Jensen opened up to me about growing up in Oahu and why they chose to leave the islands for a brighter future at UNLV.
You're watching the RebZone Sports Show on Fox 5.
The 9th Island Showdown between Hawaii and UNLV is always a thriller. The tension and competition are at an all-time high in this rivalry matchup because of all the familiar faces across the line of scrimmage.
Since we were at Aloha Stadium, I was running up and down the bleachers, just watching the game with my uncles and cousins, and I had 3 cousins go through the football program already. He's a senior this year, the last one. And it would be cool to play against him finally, and just the rest of my friends and family.
For Kilinahe Mendiola-Jensen, Cameron Friel, and Leif Fautanu, all 3 UNLV football players grew up watching UH football, had family who played for the Rainbow Warriors, and know the rich history of many football greats that have come out of Manoa. But the players tell me they left the island to go out and seek more.
For me personally, it was just, when you grow up on the island, a lot of people look at it as paradise and all that, but when you grow up there, it's kind of to see more. So coming to the mainland and getting that experience with traveling to camps and stuff, trying to get recruited, kind of just like I fell in love with being away from the island and kind of just experiencing things on my own, and that's kind of how I took it.
Friel, Mendiola-Jensen, and Fautanu all opened up to me about representing their Polynesian culture on the football field, playing for their families back home, and acknowledging their responsibility to pay it forward.
In the Polynesian culture, you always want to give back, so I feel like that's my journey and that's my mission, to give back to my parents who gave back to theirs. So I think just the idea of knowing that I can make an impact on my parents' lives in the next few years, actually. So just giving back to my parents and how much they sacrificed for me and my other siblings too. So knowing that I actually have a real opportunity to change their lives on the back end really motivates me to push me to do the work each and every day.
The Polynesian Brotherhood is strong on this UNLV football team. These players know the sacrifice it takes to leave their families back home and create a better future on the mainland. Friel and his teammates are here to help other Polynesian players feel welcomed and at home at UNLV.
Every time, even when kids come from the islands and take a look around the facility, I'm always trying to give them the tour and kind of just take pictures, make them feel, and kind of give them that let them know that it's not hard. You just gotta work at it and you gotta grind. So I try to be a better role model, not only for the kids back home, but even for like my younger siblings, my younger brothers, because I know they look up to me. So just trying to be that better role model for them.
It was a great time sitting down with them and just following them along and meeting their families and getting to see all their siblings and just how passionate each of their families are about football, about them, their growth, their experiences. But so humble, so hardworking, they were all so polite, and that's just the culture of Hawaiians. But talk about what characteristics Nahe, Friel, Leif bring to your football team, that culture they bring from playing Hawaiian football. How does that help your team and just the leadership you see from them?
Well, you kind of already mentioned, obviously you're looking for certain personal characteristics and traits that can make your program improve on and off the field. And I think, the Polynesian culture and the way they were raised with their families and how humble and loyal and tough and gritty they are, how passionate they are about loyalty and family and to do things for a bigger mission. I think the thing that they mentioned there the most is that really resonates with me is they're doing it for someone other than themselves. And so that unselfishness and that lack of ego in regards to how they go about their daily tasks is something it takes in football, because there's a lot of guys. It's not an individual sport. There's 120 some odd guys in a locker room, and to be able to take characteristics like that, it usually pays off.
It is Cannon Week. The Rebels will be looking to finish the season with a bang when they host the team up north on Saturday for a 3 o'clock kickoff. We'll hear more from Coach Arroyo on winning their final game of the season and painting that cannon red. And the Runnin' Rebels are red hot right now, starting their season off with 4 straight wins at the Thomas & Mack. We'll hear more from Kevin Kruger and the squad on staying undefeated on the road this week.
You're watching the RebZone Sports Show on Fox 5.
The Wolfpack are coming into town on Saturday. UNR has struggled this season under their new head coach, Ken Wilson, losing 9 straight and falling to Fresno State last night at home. 41-14, Fresno State clinched the West Division last night, dominating the Wolfpack at home. The Bulldogs will play at Boise State for the Mountain West Championship on Saturday, December 3rd. Coach Arroyo will be looking for his first win against UNR on Saturday. And as Austin Ajike told me last night, it's been an honor to play for 5 seasons at UNLV, and he wants to go out with a bang with his Rebels on Saturday for a 3 o'clock kickoff. That game is also being broadcasted on Fox 5's channel 5.2. You haven't been able to take down the Wolfpack, but this is a different UNR team that you're facing on Saturday. Now that Jay Norvell is over at Colorado State, he brought his guys over there. How are you planning to attack the Wolfpack this week? We talked about the physicality you want to see from your guys this week.
Yeah, the enthusiasm and toughness, and I think the commitment to this game is going to be the biggest piece. I want to see the physicality and the purpose and the identity that we know we're capable of playing with come out, and that's got to start this week.
Yeah.
We had a good week last week, but we've got to make sure that the week carries over into the weekend. And so we've got a lot to play for. This is a huge deal. Our seniors, and obviously putting that cannon back in our spot is an important deal for us, the community, the alums, and so we're all out. So I'm excited and fired up for these guys this week.
Yeah, I talked about kind of the laser focus you want to see from your guys this week. We saw Austin Ajike kind of in tears. You know, this is his last game with UNLV. What's kind of the body language, the demeanor you're seeing from your guys after last night's loss and how badly they want to beat Reno on Saturday?
Well, I mean, we haven't seen him yet today. Obviously, we just getting off the plane, as we know. So last night obviously was a crushing blow, and they took it real hard. Yeah. And but they got to come back. They know right now they got to dust themselves off and get ready to roll, because there's a big game this weekend for our seniors, big game for us and our school, and there'll be no deviation in our standards or expectations about what we expect.
All right, 3 o'clock kickoff on Saturday at Allegiant Stadium. UNLV looking to paint that cannon red. Switching to hoops, the Redmond Rebels are off to a hot start this season, remaining undefeated with 4 straight dubs at the Thompson Mac this month. The squad is 4-0 for the first time in 5 years. All 5 starters finished the night in double figures, as UNLV will look to keep this dominant performance going.
Honestly, just keeping level-headed, going into every game with a fresh mind. Even though we had a big win, every day is a new day. Every opponent is a new opponent. Everyone plays different. So just keeping that mindset, not getting too high on ourselves or too low on ourselves, whether we win or lose, and just taking every day for granted.
I'm excited where we're at, the progress we've made. I believe, if my math is correct, that's 97 turnovers in 4 games forced. We know that's going to be our MO. And I truly think we potentially could have forced a few more in the first half had we just been a little less reactive to what they were doing and a little more proactive, kind of much like we were in the first 3 games.
Jordan Morgan is new to the city of Las Vegas. The transfer from Iowa State has quickly fallen in line at UNLV and fallen in love with the Vegas community. The UNLV defensive back has started his own nonprofit, Aspire to Inspire, and brought a few of his teammates out to visit students at Matt Kelly Elementary School.
My whole goal was to go out there, have fun with the kids at recess, teach some of the, they have a flag football team, teach some of their kids different positions, different techniques, stuff like that. And then we play with some of the kids, we play basketball and other things like that. And me knowing what the school is going through, I was like, why not have a day where the kids can have free lunch?
Morgan tells me he aspires to be a leader on and off the football field, and that starts with being a mentor and being a resource to young children in the Las Vegas community.
A lot of people don't know what's going on in Vegas because everybody's so focused on the Strip, everybody's so focused on going out. Nobody's really focused on what's going on out here. And with my nonprofit, so my nonprofit is to help kids who lost their parents due to gun violence, help kids with reading literature, and just be mentors.
This was the first of many events for Morgan and his nonprofit. He tells me he created Aspire to Inspire in honor of his little sister Zoe, who passed away earlier this year in a car crash.
Just knowing what my sister brought to everybody in our community, one thing my sister was always proud of, and she just loved helping out people, and she always had a smile on her face. One thing about Zoe, anybody in public were to see her, you'll just see a smile on her face, and that just brightened up people's day. So that really pushed me to get my nonprofit going.
Just an incredible time talking to Jordan. We had to start that interview over maybe 2 or 3 times just because he got so emotional about just how much he cares about people, how much he cares about this community, doing this for his little sister and his siblings. I know he's an outstanding defensive back, but I didn't know he had all of this in him too. Coach, are you impressed with just how much he cares about the Las Vegas community and what he's doing right now?
Yeah, he exhibited that when we first met Jordan. We started recruiting him last year as a safety transfer, and it was easy to see right away that he had something special in regards to his bigger vision for himself off the field. It's reflective in him and his family, the way he communicates with them, the way he talks about them, the way he communicates about what he's trying to get done to have an effect on something bigger than football and something bigger than himself. So it's really cool to see when these stories actually get told about a lot of the guys in those locker rooms, because there's a lot of them, and Jordan's a great example of one of them.
Yeah, well, it's been awesome to sit down with them on the RebZone and get to see what they're doing off the field. I know a couple football players were doing some charity work around the Thanksgiving holiday time, so it's great to see that your guys are great players and great people in our community. But all right, Coach, beat Reno on Saturday, 3 o'clock. Let's paint that cannon red. We'll see you next Sunday on the RebZone.
Thanks for watching Fox 5 News. Watch us live wherever you are on our mobile, on